Do you think baby wipes are just for cleanup? Think again. Let's get crafting. Today is all about experimentation and having fun. I'm using some Huggies baby wipes. You can use any brand, it doesn't matter. And I'm using it on an acrylic block so that I kind of contain my mess. And I'm experimenting with some distress inks. Now I've chosen Mustard Seed, Salty Ocean, and Mowed Lawn. And if you've been around my channel at all, you know that I tend to use distress oxides. These are the dye-based distress inks. I do have some, but not the full collection like I do with the oxides. So I thought I'd just have a play. So these come in a glass bottle and they have a dropper. So I'm just dropping them on my folded baby wipe. And I'm kind of seeing what they're going to do. I have an inkling, but since I've never done this technique, I wasn't 100% sure. I'm also going to need some stamps, and I've got a few different types, and some cardstock, of course. My first experiment is using one of these older stamp sets. This is actually an acrylic stamp set. It's by Bo Bunny, and it's called Beautiful Butterflies. I have no idea if it's still available, but if it is, I'll link it if you want to take a look at exactly what I used. Now, I've just attached my little stamp to an acrylic block, and I'm using the baby wipe as a ink pad. And, well, I'm underwhelmed. Let's try it again. I am trying to get more ink on the stamp. I don't know at this point if it's the stamp, if it's not enough ink on my makeshift ink pad. I don't know, but we're going to run with it, and I'm just going to turn my stamp this way and that. I am holding it down just for a little while longer than I typically would. Since this is dye-based ink, it needs to soak into the cardstock. This is Recollections 65-pound weight cardstock. Nothing out of the ordinary. I didn't feel that watercolor was necessary. It wasn't going to get overly wet. And I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. I am getting a very watercolory background. You want to make sure that you're stamping off the page as well, so it looks like it's more of a patterned piece of paper. Now, if you decide to do this technique, you want to choose some ink colors that play nicely together. You wouldn't want to put red and green together because, well, they make mud. But if you check out your color wheel and you use your blues and yellows, which make green, your yellows and reds, which make orange, you'll be fine. Now, remember that these are dye-based inks, not something I typically use, but it turned out pretty. It does have a very watercolor effect. Let's try something else. Hey y'all, I'm Wendy from Village Card and Craft, and I want to thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me today. If you're finding value or enjoyment from my video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and hitting the subscribe button. If you ring the bell, YouTube will also let you know when I release a new video. But don't worry, it doesn't cost a thing, and they don't disturb you by sending emails or texts or anything of that nature. It's just a little blue dot by my picture on the subscription list. Now, I'm not changing the ink up just yet, but I did change the stamp, and this time I'm using more of a solid image to see what I get. This is a Wendy Vecchi Make Art set of stamps and dies. It is called Country Flowers. Once again, I have no idea. It's pretty old, so it might not be available anymore. But if I find it, you know I'll link it for you. And I am dunking it right into the same ink pad. Let's see what we get. I'm thinking I probably don't have enough ink, but give it a shot. Not exactly the stellar solid color image that I was looking for. I was kind of hoping for an ombre sort of effect. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more ink to my little makeshift ink pad here. And then I got to thinking, why don't I add some water? All of Tim Holtz's inks are water reactive, so that's exactly what I did. Added a little bit of water in hopes that those inks would blend and move together. Dump it in the ink and stamp it out. Okay, I like it a little bit better. We're going to continue on the march. Now, if you're not getting the look you thought you were going to get, or it's not quite up to your expectations, keep going, because you can still turn out a beautiful card even if it isn't meeting up with your expectations. I promise this turns out to be lovely. In true Wendy fashion, I am not getting rid of that little makeshift ink pad, but I am going to try the same technique out with Distress Oxides. Now, Distress Oxides are pigment and dye based, so you have to shake these up, and the reason that they're in a little plastic bottle is because there's a little stainless steel bead in there, and if it was in a glass bottle, the bead may break the glass bottle. So these are in plastic. Shake them up really well, mix them up, and this time I decided to get pretty rowdy with the color, and I like it better already. Obviously I've sped this up, but I like the opacity better of the Distress Oxides. I think through and through, I'm just a Distress Oxide girl. But you can do this with any type of water reactive ink that you have. Catherine Pooler inks would be lovely. Concord and Ninth, you name it. This will work. I go ahead and drag out that solid floral stamp once again, and same cardstock. I'm just going to go ahead and dump it in. And again, I really do like the opacity of the Distress Oxides. And, you know, if you like that translucent effect, then definitely go with dye inks. But if you like something a little bit more solid, go with the oxides. Now be sure to stick around to the very end, because I promise you I'm going to show you some finished cards that are going to dazzle you. I just had to break in here and say thank you for getting me to a very coveted goal of 20,000 subscribers. I am thrilled beyond thrilled. And I've got a little secret. So make sure that you stick around in the next few weeks, because I've got some fantastic news. Now, I absolutely could have left this as this more ombre effect for a flower, but I decided I wanted to bring in some finer detail. This particular stamp set has an outline stamp with it as well. And although I'm trying to line it up, I'm not really paying much attention to how it falls. Because it's a watercolor effect on the bottom, it doesn't really matter if the lines are not particularly lined up. I'm just going with it. And I'm using VersaFine Onyx Black ink for the top layer. Now I think that the outline stamp really gave the florals some definition. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. I couldn't let all that lovely ink go to waste, so I thought I'd try it in a whole different application. Word to the wise, wear gloves. This got really messy, and I have green nails now. I am using a Crafter's Workshop stencil. I can't remember the name of it. It's something sunflower, but I've just laid it out on a piece of cardstock, and I finally got a sticky mat, and I've got to tell you, I love it, love it, love it. And I'm just running, this is the dye-based ink, by dabbing it on. But yes, I should have worn gloves. But let me check out and see what I got going on here. Okay. Not as defined as I would have thought it was, but that's okay, because I'm going to fix it. I always do. A quick tidy up with a spritz of water and a paper towel leaves my sticky mat in perfect condition once again. For the next one, I'm going to use the same stencil, but in this case, I'm going to go ahead and use the Distress Oxide Baby Wipe. Now, this is the one we kind of went to town with by doing squiggly lines instead of dots. And here's where I realized that I should have put gloves on, but you know, oh well. I do art for a living. Well, part of a living anyway. All right, so far I'm really liking what I'm seeing, but let's check out what the final result is. This is our Distress Oxide card, the butterfly one, with a chunky happy birthday finished off with a yellow and a blue border. A black fine liner pen gave me some intricate detail that this card was screaming for, and then I finished it off with one of my happy birthday sentiments. I finished up this last card by adding a black and white happy birthday sentiment along with a blue border. I'd love to know which card was your favorite. Let me know in the comments below. It's time to check out some other videos that I've selected just for you. Until next time, I'll see you real soon.